is Dr. Dale Wheeland, and I practice family medicine in Tucson, Arizona. Born and raised here, and I really enjoyed science, so I decided that I'd like to go into some sort of science-related field. I attended the University of Arizona and received a bachelor's degree in biology and a master's degree in toxicology. During my research, I used a lot of lab animals, and I found that there was something that was missing in my life. And that something that missing was the interaction with people. And I think that medicine was a natural transition for me. It provided the science that I liked, the interaction with people, and it afforded me the chance to help people too. I've been in practice for over 30 years, and I went to medical school in Missouri, in Kirksville, osteopathic medical school. I decided that I really didn't want to stay in Missouri. It was cold, bitterly cold in the winter, and hot and humid in the summer. So I chose to come back to Tucson, my hometown, where it's warm in the winter and hot, but it's a dry heat in the summer. I've been married only once to my college sweetheart. We have two adult children who both have 2 children, so I'm a grandfather of 4. They all live back east, which I don't get to see them as often as I'd like to. My father was a big influence in my life. He encouraged me to continue my education, but one important thing that he always told me was to pick a career that I would be happy with the rest of my life. And that career was really medicine. And I'm glad I chose it. So when I started practice, it was a lot different than it is today. There were a lot of individuals and physicians that were not based in large groups. You usually were in an office with 2 or 3 doctors, but you saw your own patients. You provided their own care. You admitted them to the hospital if they needed to be admitted. And there was truly a doctor-patient relationship. And they knew you and you knew them. Medicine currently is large groups of doctors that are usually owned by hospitals or large corporations. And there's a quota of patients they must see. In order to get to that quota, they must hire nurse practitioners or physician assistants to carry the load. So if you go into a regular doctor's office, you may never see the doctor. You'll see a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant. And I'll tell you, in fact, that if you go to an urgent care, you most likely will not see a doctor there either. You'll see a nurse practitioner. So that's one of the big changes that I've seen in medicine. I've always tried to be the only doctor that the patient sees. I have not hired any nurse practitioners or physician assistants in my office, although I've been pressured to do so. I've always tried to be the only person that patient sees. The challenges today for physicians like myself are that you have to provide a certain amount of information to the insurance companies and to Medicare. This requires a humongous amount of time. You actually have to spend more time in front of the computer than you have face-to-face with the patient. The amount of paperwork is daunting, and that's why a lot of physicians have gone to large groups, because they don't have to deal with a lot of the administration that I deal with. And if you look around, there's not many private solo practitioners anymore. They've all gone into large practices. And I think that most of them are not happy because they don't have that interrelationship they have before with the patients. Concierge or membership medicine is a type of practice that would allow me to see less patients, but that would allow me more time to develop our relationship and provide a more preventative type or proactive type of relationship rather than a reactive type of relationship. It would give me more time to spend with those patients to allow them to explain what their problems are and give them enough time instead of that 15-minute window that is commonly used in other practices. I've always tried to be a doctor that if someone has a problem, I address it at that time. And commonly that puts me behind. I'm really tired of running behind an hour. And I recently asked one of my patients if they would consider concierge membership medicine with me. And she said, "What are the benefits of this?" And I said, "Well, one of the benefits is that you can get same day or next day appointments." And she says, "Well, I already get that from you now." And I replied, "Well, I'm running an hour behind right now." So it would allow me the time to develop those relationships and not run behind. My time is important. My patients' times are important too. And that's one of the reasons I want to be able to take the time I need and not feel like I'm rushed or have to be an hour behind. Benefits to the patient by joining a membership or concierge medicine is that you will be seen on time. You will have more time to explain your illness. You will be able to call me personally on my cell phone after hours and not have to go through a answering service. You'll be able to spend the time we need to address the problems that you have and not be rushed into telling me what the problems are in a 15-minute exam. You'll be able to a lot of times avoid going to an urgent care because you'll be able to get in the next day or the same day. And we can discuss this as whether or not you need to be seen immediately in an emergency room, but I want to be able to avoid some of those urgent cares that you can maybe see me that same day or the next day. This will be a high benefit to the patients to keep them in a healthier state and allow them to be more proactive in their health and allow them to use other means of treatment rather than just medicine, more exercise, diet. We would discuss all these different things. We'd have a wellness check once a year, and this would provide some of the questions you may not normally ask a doctor, and we'll have time to discuss those things. That's the real benefit. I once had a patient that came in, and he had a regular scheduled appointment. My nurses mentioned to me that he did not look well. So we got him back right away. I put a hold on my other scheduled patients and I saw him immediately. He told me that he was a businessman and he was flying into Tucson and he thought he ate some bad airport food. He came in ashen colored and he was short of breath, and I realized immediately that he was having a heart attack. We got him. We got an EKG. I gave him aspirin. We called 911, and we saved his life. Well, that's the way I've been practicing medicine all along. I give the time that patients need, and if it puts me behind, that's what's happened to me. And I run an hour behind normally, and this would afford me the extra time to see patients and not be rushed. One of the other things that I believe that membership of medicine allows me to do is go back to the way I felt like I started. Osteopathic medicine is dealing with the entire patient or holistic approach to medicine. Rather than a sum of body parts, I want to deal with the entire patient, and that membership medicine allows me to do some of the osteopathic ideals that I felt that have gone away with the changes in medicine. A new patient that would come in to say, "Why should I join your practice?" And I would tell them, first of all, that you would be a name and not a number. You would be able to be seen in a timely manner. You would be able to be seen the same day or next day. You'd be able to call me if you have any concerns about your health, and try to avoid going to the emergency room or urgent care when it's not really necessary. If you're a patient that has a lot of chronic conditions, I will be able to see you as often as you need to be seen. A lot of times you may have to see specialists, and sometimes getting through the specialist is difficult, and I would help you with that. The other thing that would be helpful was to interpret some of the diagnostic tests that you may have to go through. They may give you a copy of the test, but you have no idea what's there. I would be able to interpret those things. I would help you go through the illness with you and not just hand you something to tell you that you need a certain medicine. I would explain why you need it. I would explain what we need to do, and we would go through this together. If you're a new patient and want a change in your health care and not happy with what you're getting right now, give me a chance to provide health care for you and be a partner in your care.